Maria Moody smoked for 50 years straight. Then one morning at 67, she put out her last cigarette and never looked back. What happened to her body in just 30 days left her doctor speechless. If you've been smoking for decades and think it's too late, stay with us. This one's for you. Hit subscribe so you never miss a story like Maria's. There is a woman whose story has been making its way through communities, passed from neighbor to neighbor, from family dinner tables to front porch conversations. Her name is Maria Moody. She is 67 years old, and for the past 50 years of her life, she smoked cigarettes every single day, without exception. 2 packs a day, rain or shine. Morning coffee in one hand, cigarette in the other. That was Maria's life. That was Maria's routine. And for a long time, she believed it was just too late to change any of it. People around her had tried to get her to stop. Her daughter had begged her. Her son had left articles on the kitchen table about what smoking does to the human body after the age of 60. Her family doctor had sat her down more than once and explained in careful detail what was happening inside her lungs, her heart, her blood vessels. But Maria always had the same answer. She would smile, nod politely, and say the same words every time. She would say that she had been smoking since she was 17 years old, that her body had adjusted to it long ago, and that quitting now would probably do more harm than good. She believed that with her whole heart. Then one Tuesday morning in October, something happened that nobody expected. Not her doctor, not her children, not even Maria herself. She woke up at 5 in the morning, unable to breathe properly. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way that sent her rushing to the emergency room, but in a quiet, frightening way that made her sit on the edge of her bed in the dark and realize that something was genuinely wrong. She sat there for a long time. She looked at the pack of cigarettes on her nightstand. She picked it up. She held it in her hand for what felt like a very long time. And then she set it back down, stood up, walked to the kitchen trash can, and dropped it in. That was the last cigarette Maria Moody ever touched. What happened to her body over the next 30 days is something that the people closest to her still talk about with a sense of quiet amazement, because the changes did not take months. They did not take years. They began almost immediately. Within the first 24 hours of not smoking, the carbon monoxide levels in Maria's blood began to drop. Her body started pulling in oxygen more efficiently than it had in decades. She did not notice it right away. The first day was hard. The second day was harder. There were moments when she paced her kitchen, opened the trash can, and stared down at that crumpled pack. But she never reached for it. By the end of the first week, her daughter noticed something at Sunday dinner. She noticed that her mother was not coughing the way she always had. That rattling, deep morning cough that the whole family had grown so used to hearing. It was quieter. It was not gone yet, but it was quieter. Maria noticed it too. She started waking up in the mornings and lying still for a moment, waiting for the cough to come the way it always had, and finding that it was gentler than before. Her chest felt different, not completely clear, but different. By the end of the second week, Maria went to get her mail one afternoon and realized halfway down her driveway that she had not thought about breathing once during the walk. That sounds like a small thing. But for someone who had been unconsciously managing her breath for years, rationing her energy on staircases and long walks, that small moment of not thinking about it was enormous. She stood at her mailbox and just breathed in and out a few times, deliberately, and felt something she had not felt in a very long time. She felt like her lungs belonged to her again. The financial piece of Maria's story is something her son James brought up at Thanksgiving that year, and it made the whole table go quiet for a moment. He had done the math. 2 packs of cigarettes a day, every day for 50 years. At current prices, that was approximately $15 a day. That is roughly $450 a month. That is approximately $400 a year. Over 50 years, even accounting for the lower prices of earlier decades. Maria had spent somewhere in the range of $150,000 on cigarettes over the course of her lifetime. Nobody said anything for a moment after James finished talking. Then Maria laughed. Not a sad laugh, a real one. She said that she could have bought a boat. The table laughed with her, but the financial change happening in real time was just as meaningful. Within the first month of quitting, Maria had an extra $450 sitting in her checking account that had never been there before. She used part of it to buy a new robe and a pair of walking shoes. Small things. But they represented something larger. They represented money that was now staying with her instead of going up in smoke. 3 months after that October morning, Maria went back to her doctor for a scheduled checkup. He reviewed her blood work, checked her blood pressure, listened to her lungs, and then sat back in his chair and looked at her for a moment before speaking. He told her that her blood pressure had come down to a range he had not seen from her in over a decade. He told her that her lung function, while not perfect, had measurably improved. He told her that the lining of her airways was beginning to repair itself in ways that he found genuinely encouraging given how long she had smoked. Maria sat in that office chair and listened to every word. And when she got to her car in the parking lot, she sat there for a few minutes before starting the engine. Her sleep had changed too. This was something she had not expected at all. For years, Maria had slept lightly and woken frequently through the night. She had assumed it was simply age. What she did not know was that nicotine was affecting her sleep architecture, keeping her body in a state of mild arousal throughout the night, preventing her from reaching the deeper stages of rest. Within 6 weeks of quitting, she started sleeping through the night in a way she had not experienced since she was much younger. She would wake up in the morning and lie still for a moment, genuinely surprised by how rested she felt. Her energy during the day was different. She was not dragging herself through the afternoon the way she once had. Her sense of taste came back in a way that startled her. She had forgotten what food actually tasted like at full strength. She made her mother's chicken recipe one Sunday afternoon and stood over the stove smelling the herbs and the garlic, and felt something close to emotion about it. Food had been muted for so long that she had simply accepted the muted version as normal. It was not normal. She had just forgotten. Her grandchildren noticed changes too. Maria's youngest grandchild, a 6-year-old named Lily, had always been slightly hesitant around her grandmother in a way that Maria had never fully understood. Children are sensitive to things that adults learn to overlook. After a few months of not smoking, Lily started climbing into Maria's lap without hesitation during family visits. She would press her face against Maria's shoulder and stay there. Maria did not make a big deal of it out loud, but the people in the room noticed. And Maria noticed most of all. By the time Maria reached the 1-year mark of not smoking, the changes in her body had compounded in ways that her doctor described as meaningful and significant for someone her age. Her circulation had improved. The small blood vessels in her hands and feet were functioning better. She had started taking evening walks around her neighborhood, something she would not have attempted 2 years earlier. Not long walks, 20 minutes, sometimes 30, but she was walking, breathing, and finishing those walks without needing to stop and rest on someone's front step. She told her friend Dorothy over coffee one morning that she felt like she had gotten a portion of her life handed back to her, not all of it. She was not pretending to be a young woman, but a portion of it, a real, tangible, breathing portion of it. The story of Maria Moody is not unique. Across communities, in kitchens and living rooms and doctors' offices, there are people just like her, people who smoked for decades and believed the window had closed. People who sat with that belief for years, carrying it the way Maria carried her cigarettes, out of habit more than conviction. What Maria's story shows, and what the people who love her will tell anyone who asks, is that the body does not give up on the person, even when the person has stopped believing in the body. The repair begins. The breath returns. The sleep deepens. The taste comes back. The grandchildren climb into the lap. It does not happen all at once, but it happens. Maria Moody is proof of that. And if someone out there is sitting on the edge of their own bed, in the early morning dark, holding something they are not sure they want anymore, her story is for them. If Maria's story reached something in you today, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below telling us about someone you know whose life changed after making a decision just like hers. And if you are new here, subscribe and stay close, because every single week there is a new story waiting for you. A real one. The kind that reminds you that it is never too late to choose differently.